We report often on Vermont's opioid crisis and its impact on Vermont communities. It's measured in numbers like overdoses and deaths, but it's not easily measured in terms of treatment and recovery.
Tonight, we begin a three-part investigation into what drug treatment looks like in Vermont and how well it's working. In part one, Laura Ullman explores what is often the first step to recovery, a stay in rehab.
I'm from St. Albans, Vermont, and I grew up in a pretty healthy home.
Josh was a beautiful little boy, very high-spirited, a lot of fun. He was very popular in school.
Josh Lash's vision of his life changed in an instant when he started using drugs at 18. His mom, Celinda Santor, found out years later. The night her sister died, Josh showed up suffering from withdrawal.
I turned and looked at him, and I made him stay at my sister's house with me for 2 weeks to try to detox him on my own, and very unsuccessful.
Moving into recovery for me at first was people kind of pushing me to do it, and that kind of caused me to not really be ready to go in yet.
Self-admission is what experts agree is the best way to enter recovery.
So the process of getting in here would require the individual in need to give us a call.
Chad Vijay heads a nonprofit that runs 2 residential treatment programs. These programs are often the first steps toward recovery.
That call can be supplemented with a referral from a hospital, a recovery center, a loved one, but really we want to hear from the individual.
Josh Lash relapsed 3 times after attending a separate residential treatment program in the State Valley Vista in Bradford. In October, xylazine sent Lash to a breaking point.
He almost lost his foot, and I think that scared him.
When he got discharged, his mother drove him that night to Valley Vista.
We just talked the whole time, and I'm like, I just want my boy back, Josh. I want you back. And he promised me he would, and he's coming through with it. So I'm very thankful for that.
The first few days at a residential treatment center are detox. After that, meetings all day.
It's really what people in early recovery need, is to keep their mind focused on, recovery.
Most people who go to Valley Vista or other residential treatment programs use a state insurance plan, which covers a base rate per patient. They can stay as long as they want, but state insurance barely covers a 2-week stay, and the provider picks up the rest of the tab.
Cost of treatment has more than doubled.
Valley Vista's Rick Stefano says that's due to the high cost of nurses who are contracted through an agency due to the lack of medical professionals in state.
I think we've done a poor job as a system to incentivize working in this field. It's very difficult when school is expensive and the pay in this field isn't competitive with other healthcare fields.
Waves of retirement and burnout during COVID and the closure of a sober home in 2021 have also hit the industry hard.
I believe we were somewhere in the realm of 500 to 600 licensed alcohol and drug counselors pre-COVID, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we're down to about 263.
The staffing problems have decreased bed availability in recovery homes across Vermont. And with the rising cost of care, providers can't foot the bill for people starting their recovery journey to stay longer.
I wanted him to stay for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, anything but 2 weeks. 2 weeks is not enough time for someone to get the proper help. It's not.
Santor is grateful her son was able to move into a recovery residence in Maine because of the lack of openings in Vermont. Despite the distance, his mom is just happy he's alive.
I just don't want people to give up on him. You can't give up on him. People will tell you to, but don't listen to them. Don't give up on them. I'm so glad I didn't give up on mine. I'm so glad, because it was worth the wait.
Josh Lash still lives at that recovery residence today. He was able to move in after stopping his medication-assisted treatment, which is what doctors say is the best option to abstain from opiate use. In part 2 of my special report, we'll break down what that treatment looks like and why it may not be the silver bullet to the opioid epidemic. In the studio, Laura Ullman, Channel 3 News.